Hello friends, today let me see topic on friction. Friction is a resistive force. Friction is the resistive force that is tangent to the surface. For example, there is an object over the surface. The object is moving in this direction. The friction will act opposite to the motion. This one is friction force, this one is applied force. The friction force always will be opposite to the direction of motion. Limiting friction. Limiting friction is the maximum friction force at the time of impending of motion. Maximum friction force at the time of starting the motion. Suppose this object is there on over a surface, we are applying the force. Due to this force, the object starts to moving. At the time, the maximum friction will be applied over this on this body. That friction is called limiting friction. Let's see the classification of friction. This is the classification of friction. Friction generally classified into two categories. First one is static, second one is dynamics. In dynamic friction is classified into two, that is sliding friction, rolling friction. Static friction is the friction when there is no motion. Static friction, the object is on the surface, there is number of forces acting over this body. The force experienced by the body and the external forces when there is no motion, that is called static friction. When the force is acting on this body, when there is a motion, that is called dynamic friction. Sliding friction is when the object is slides over the surface. This one is the surface, this object is slides over this surface. This is called sliding friction. When the object is rolls over the surface, that is called rolling. This one is object, it is kept on the surface. This object is moving in this direction due to this force. The friction force will be applied against the motion, that is friction force. The self weight acts towards downside, that is W. Due to the self weight, normal reaction will be created tangent to the surface, that is normal reaction. Here summation of f of x equal to 0, summation of f of y equal to 0, it will become W equal Rn. This friction force will become friction force equal mu into Rn, normal reaction. This is the formula for the friction force. Friction force equal to the mu into Rn, and the applied force, this one is applied force, F is less than friction force mu into Rn. There will not be a motion because friction force will be equal to the applied force. When the applied force is greater than friction force, there will be motion. Object start slide because the applied force is greater than the friction force. Next, dry friction. Dry friction is also called as Coulomb friction. When the contact surfaces are dry, the friction created by that surface is called dry friction. Fluid friction. Fluid friction is the friction when the lubricating film is applied between the contact surfaces. That friction is called fluid friction. Next, angle of friction. Let's imagine this one is object kept on the surface. This one is weight of object, and this one is normal reaction. This one is applied force, and this one is friction force. Angle of friction is the angle between the normal reaction and the resultant reaction. Here the resultant reaction will be here, that is R. Now we can construct a triangle by using these three forces. Rn or friction force. This is the angle of friction. Now tan pi, that is equal to friction force divided by normal reaction. Friction force divided by normal reaction, that is equal, friction force is mu into Rn divided by Rn. So tan pi equal mu. So pi equal tan inverse of mu. Mu is the coefficient of friction. So tan pi equal mu. Keep it as equation 1. Next, angle of repose. When the object is kept on a horizontal plane, we are increasing the angle with respect to the horizontal plane. At the time of some angle of inclination, the object will start slides down. That angle is called angle of repose alpha. Let's see the relation between angle of repose alpha and angle of friction pi. There is an object over the inclined plane. The weight of the object is W and that angle is alpha. The object is start sliding, so the friction force will act here, that is mu into Rn. The normal reaction will act perpendicular to the surface, that is Rn. We can resolve this force into two categories: W cos alpha, W sin alpha, x axis, y axis. Now summation of f of y equal to 0. So W cos alpha equal Rn, that is Rn equal W cos alpha. Keep it as equation 2. Summation of f of x equals 0. So mu into Rn equal W sin alpha. Mu Rn equal W sin alpha. Keep it as equation 3. Now 3 by 2, that is equal tan alpha equal mu. That mu is equal to tan pi. Substitute, this one is equation 4. Substitute 1 in 4, we will get tan alpha equal tan mu. We can cancel this, so alpha equal mu, that is angle of repose is equal to the angle of friction.